On a cold, snowy day, the Volsung clan returned from a successful sea voyage, with King Leif proudly at the helm. His voice boomed over the waves, sharing tales of past battles. One, in particular, had changed his life. During a fierce battle, Leif was struck down, and hope seemed lost. Then, a mysterious warrior woman, Sigrid, arrived, saving him in the nick of time. Together, they fought side by side, turning the tide. The Valkyries descended to claim the dead, acknowledging Sigrid's bravery, marking the beginning of her and Leif's love story. Over time, their love deepened, and they became engaged. Upon returning to their village, Sigrid waved to Leif from the shore. Clan members looked upon her with admiration as she recounted how she and Leif had fallen in love. That evening, Leif handed Egil some fish for dinner and took Sigrid to the house he was building for them. Beneath the northern lights, their love blossomed, sparkling fireworks of the future. Sigrid expressed her desire to see her family before the wedding. The next day, Sigrid met with her friend Hervor, but grew upset when Hervor questioned her about children and seeking approval from others. Meanwhile, Leif journeyed to a lonely mountain peak where his father's sword lay embedded in the ground, seeking his father's blessing for the marriage. He struggled to free the sword, but after speaking to his father's spirit, it loosened, signifying his approval. Soon, Leif and Sigrid set off on horseback to her homeland. They reached a massive ancient tree with a foghorn. Sigrid climbed and blew the horn, revealing a hidden pathway across the water. Crossing it, they entered Jotunheim, Sigrid's homeland, where they saw two giants battling. Leif prepared to fight, but Sigrid joyfully embraced them. They were her brothers, as she was the daughter of the giant king Glaumar. At the gates of Jotunheim, King Glaumar welcomed Sigrid home. In the grand hall, Sigrid requested her father's blessing for her marriage. Glaumar hesitated, fearing for his kingdom's future, but Leif offered treasures and seeds from the Volsung clan as a gesture of goodwill. After deliberation, Glaumar gave his blessing and the celebration began. Leif joined a drinking game with Sigrid's brothers, while Sigrid conversed with Queen Jarnglimra and the priestess. As the wedding began, everything seemed perfect, until Thor and his brother Balder arrived, uninvited, searching for Loki. Tension quickly escalated as Thor crashed with Glaumar. Gaetla, one of the giantkin, challenged Thor, but he struck her down, inciting chaos. Thor's wrath was relentless. He massacred the giants, including King Glaumar and Queen Jarnglimra. Leif and Sigrid barely escaped, hiding the children, but Thor continued his path of destruction, burning the village. Amid the devastation, Sigrid vowed to kill Thor. As she mourned, hands emerged from the lava, pulling her into the depths below. There, Loki appeared, offering her the chance for vengeance against Thor. He welcomed her to the red gates of hell. Sigrid found herself disoriented, caught between life and death. Loki, the trickster god, cloaked her in garments woven from his magic, and soon after, Hel, Loki's daughter and ruler of the underworld, joined them. They assured her she was merely a visitor in the land of the dead. Loki recounted tales of old gods and battles, urging Sigrid to seek vengeance on Thor. He advised her to assemble a powerful team and directed her to Andvari, a master craftsman capable of forging weapons that could kill gods. Meanwhile, Leif, frantically digging through the earth for his beloved, was startled when Sigrid emerged blood-streaked and determined. She shared her encounter with Loki and her thirst for revenge. Though troubled by her pact with the trickster god, Leif agreed to help. Together, they set out to recruit allies. Their first stop was Sigrid's old friend Hervor, a fierce warrior who joined without hesitation. Next, they found Egil, the poet. After narrowly escaping capture with magic, Egil joined the cause. Venturing into dark forests, they sought Seidkona, an ancient magician who had sacrificed her son to gain foresight. Along the way, a fierce, wolf-like creature named Ulfr ambushed them. Just as it was about to strike Egil, Seidkona appeared, subduing the beast and treating Egil's wounds. She already knew of Sigrid's plan through her foresight, and while Leif remained skeptical, they continued onward. Sigrid aimed to reach the Vanir, the ancient gods cast from Earth. But first, they needed Andvari, a dwarven craftsman of legendary skill. Crossing the Nidavellir River, they encountered bogwomen guarding the entrance to the dwarven kingdom. Hervor's impatience triggered a battle, but Sigrid called upon Loki. His spider minions restrained the bogwomen, and with Ulfr's answer to a riddle, they were granted passage. Inside the dwarven kingdom, they marveled at Andvari's grand workshop. Anticipating their arrival, Andvari led them to his armory. Sigrid chose a cursed spear, while each member of the group armed themselves with god-killing weapons, except for Egil and Leif. Sigrid cautioned Leif against taking a weapon unless fully committed. To prove his love and resolve, Leif took one, willing to risk everything. Before their departure, Andvari offered Sigrid a final gift. She leapt into the river, where the bogwomen imbued her skin with the blood of Hell's Red Gate, granting her invincible armor. Emerging with a new symbol on her face, a mark of her grief and determination, she rejoined the group. Meanwhile, Odin, watching from afar, sensed Sigrid's march against his son Thor and began dispatching agents to intervene. Thor awoke from a dream of a mermaid stranded on a beach near a wrecked ship. In the shadow of a massive sea serpent, he embraced her passionately. Stirring from sleep, Thor went to train his son. During their practice, Balder arrived with a message from Odin. Thor must not leave his castle, as Sigrid was seeking revenge. Unbeknownst to them, Loki, disguised as a lizard, spied on the conversation. He slithered away to Freya, the queen of Vanaheim, and the sister of King Tuaz, the ruler of ancient gods. However, after the First War, she was imprisoned and taken as wife by Odin of Asgard. Loki and Freya discussed their own plans for revenge, sharing their desire to bring down Odin and the Aesir. To seal their pact, Freya gifted Loki with imperial breast milk, solidifying their alliance. Meanwhile, Sigrid's group, including Leif, Hervor, Ulfr, Egil, Seidkona, and Andvari, was lost on the borders of Vanaheim, searching for the Vanir gods. That night, as they camped, Egil recounted tales of the ancient war between the Vanir and Aesir. Suddenly, Ulfr returned with alarming news. They were being hunted by Bolkvarkr riders and Odin's ravens. The Bolkvarkr riders terrorized nearby villages, killing innocents as they tracked Sigrid's group. Sigrid tried to contact Loki, but Andvari warned it was pointless in Vanir territory. As the war horn of the Bolkvarkr riders sounded, signaling their approach, the group prepared for battle. Ulfr chose to flee in a different direction. In the ensuing fight, Egil was nearly killed, but Seidkona saved him just in time. The group managed to fend off the riders using their god-killing weapons. Ulfr rolled a massive boulder, crushing the remaining riders. Pressing on, they found a solitary home with chimes hanging along the path. Inside, a young boy attacked Leif, but Leif easily disarmed him. A man and woman appeared, offering hospitality. Leif, wary, sent Ulfr, Hervor, and Egil to scout ahead. They soon discovered the horrific scene of villagers slain by the Bolkvarkr riders. Realizing they were surrounded, it became clear that the family offering hospitality was part of a Bolkvarkr trap. In the house, Leif found a chained girl, sparking a confrontation. The woman seized Seidkona, but Egil quickly killed her, while Hervor cut down the man. As they prepared to leave, the Bolkvarkr huntsmen arrived to finish them. Just in time, they rescued the imprisoned girl and escaped. Their troubles escalated as Thor himself appeared, intent on facing Sigrid. Just as he prepared to unleash his fury, the girl revealed herself to be Thyra, an emissary. She cast a spell that unveiled the true borders of Vanaheim. Thor hurled thunder and lightning, blocking the path and isolating Sigrid from her group. A fierce battle erupts, with Thor eager to kill her. But as Sigrid crossed into Vanaheim, Thor could not follow. Frustrated, he swore to kill her and retreated. Finally safe, the group found refuge with the warriors of Vanaheim, and Thyra revealed her true role as an emissary of the Vanir, the old gods. The next day, Thor awoke from a recurring dream, more vivid and enticing than before. Later, he sat on Asgard's throne, following bloodied footsteps to a lake where he encountered Sandraudiga the Dread, a powerful and mysterious figure among the broken. Having returned defeated from battle, it was now Thor's turn to meet her. Meanwhile, in Vanaheim's council of ancient, decayed gods, Sigrid and her group pleaded for assistance. Leif knelt, begging the gods for help, but Sigrid strategically offered to bring them the apples of immortality in exchange for their support. The council, led by Tiwaz, agreed and assigned Thira to accompany them. That night, a feast was held in their honor. Tensions arose between Leif and Sigrid. Torn by doubt, Leif argued with her and later thanked his loyal servant Egil for his years of service before granting him his freedom. Confused and heartbroken, Egil sought guidance from Said Kona, who turned him away for his own good. Feeling abandoned, he left the group. Eager to begin the journey, Andvari was driven by his desire for revenge against Fafnir, the snow dragon guarding the Orchard of Immortality. Egil revealed Fafnir's tragic story. Once a prince of Nidavellir, who could transform into a crane, his brother into an otter, and their friend Andvari into a pike. They enjoyed these forms until Loki accidentally killed Fafnir's brother. Loki claimed it was an accident and agreed to pay a settlement to Fafnir's father, but Loki did this on Fafnir's behalf. Loki paid the debt with Andvari's stolen gold, which cursed Fafnir, turning him into a venomous dragon guarding the apples. As they traveled toward the orchard, Andvari shared this tale with Sigrid. One night, Loki appeared to Sigrid privately, while the others remained unaware. That same night, Sigrid and Leif shared an intimate moment, secretly observed by Thira. The next day, they reached the orchard. Said Kona enchanted Thira's bow to pierce the unseen. While trying to steal the apples without waking Fafnir, Thira fumbled, causing an apple to fall and alerting the dragon. Andvari confronted Fafnir, speaking in dwarven tongue, but the dragon attacked upon realizing their intentions. A fierce battle ensued. Leif and Sigrid led the charge, using god-killing weapons to wound the dragon, while Thira shot enchanted arrows. Despite their efforts, Fafnir remained formidable. Leif and Sigrid climbed onto his back, piercing his neck. As the dragon crashed, Andvari, Saidkuna, Ulfr, and the others attacked until Andvari entered the beast and cut it open from the inside. Fafnir reverted to his dwarven form, gravely injured. In compassion, Andvari kicked an apple toward him, but Leif prevented Fafnir from eating it. With the apples in hand, the group returned to Vanaheim. The old gods greedily bit into the apples, only to find they were poisoned. Tiwaz ordered Sigrid's group captured, but they escaped. Leif stayed behind, sealing the exit by knocking down the wall. Surrounded, he realized that Loki, in the form of a worm, had poisoned the apples himself. Loki witnesses the birth of his daughter Hel and calls his other children to meet her. Suddenly, Thor arrives, furious at Loki for breaking the gods' laws by having children with giants. Chaos erupts, but Loki soon realizes it's only a dream. Recognizing that Leif, too, is trapped in a dream, where he speaks with his ailing father, Loki intervenes, revealing that Leif is actually imprisoned in the mind of the god Honir, left half mad after Odin split his skull in a truce with the Vanir. In First War, Honir's wisdom had led the Aesir to victory, and to end the conflict, Odin offered a truce. He took Freya as his wife and gave Honir, his strategist, to the Vanir. Meanwhile, Sigrid and her group are fleeing from Vanaheim's soldiers. With Said Kona's magic, they temporarily hide, but the spell breaks, and Thira sacrifices herself to buy them time. The group escapes through a hidden tunnel into a maze, where they encounter a pack of ancient wolves, the first wolves of Vanaheim. Ulfr fights and earns their respect, gaining the wolves' guidance to lead Sigrid's group to safety. Guided to Honir's shrine, Leif struggles with memories of past battles, especially when he killed Egil's father. Loki repeatedly pulls him out of these flashbacks, helping him realize it was always Loki's influence guiding his actions. At the shrine, their presence alerts the old gods. A fierce battle ensues, with Sigrid's group struggling against the gods' might. Thira, tears in her eyes, joins the fight, fully aware of the stakes. Just as defeat seems inevitable, the giants arrive, drawn by tales of Sigrid, the little giant who kills gods. Thanks to Egil's storytelling, the giants join Sigrid's cause, tipping the battle in her favor. With renewed strength, Sigrid races toward the shrine to complete her mission. As Tiwaz moves to strike a fatal blow, Sigrid decapitates Honir, unleashing a burst of energy that decimates the battlefield. Before any further bloodshed, Loki appears and takes credit for the poisoned apples of Idun, thus ending the conflict. Leif awakens to find Sigrid beside him, while Loki, having completed his master plan, vanishes. United with Sigrid's group, the old gods pledge to march on Asgard, preparing for a final battle against the gods. On the eve before the great battle, the army gathered around the fire to share tales of strength and resilience. First to speak was a mysterious old man who told of two giant sisters enslaved by a cruel master. Forced to grind salt continuously, they sang of their homeland, kin, and battles. The king ordered their salt thrown into the sea to spoil enemy waters. Day, night, sisters kept going. However, salt and sea rot the wood, caused the ship to sink beneath the waves, freeing the two sisters at last. To this day, the old man said, they still grind deep in the ocean, making the sea salty. Next, Dal, a giant leader, shared her tale. She recounted a time when the Aesir gods sought a great wall built. A mysterious builder offered to complete it in exchange for the sun, moon, and Freya, Odin's captive queen. Making swift progress with his horse, the builder neared completion, but the gods, unwilling to uphold their bargain, asked Loki to intervene. Loki transformed into a mare, luring away the builder's horse. Thor then killed the builder, revealed to be a giant. Dal's story drew laughter, especially when she mentioned Loki later gifting Odin a horse cub. Hervor teased Egil about his peculiar habits, provoking him to share his own story. In his youth, Egil was an artist, crafting sculptures with stories. Beaten and shunned, he was discovered by Odrik, who nursed him back to health, and they became lovers. Odrik taught Egil the art of rune carving. When Odrik's brother discovered them, a duel took place. Egil killed him, restoring his honor and winning his father's pride. Ulfr, returning with news, revealed his secret past. Abandoned as a child, Ulfr once saved another boy from a first wolf by killing it, but when the cold set in, they couldn't stay warm. He made a desperate choice. He consumed the boy to survive, transforming into a wolf himself. Meanwhile, Hervor and Andvari, under the influence of potent mushrooms, wandered into the woods, lost in hallucinations. Sigrid, speaking with Thyra, recalled how she'd felt out of place with her giant kin due to her human heritage. She left to find her mother's people, the clan Volsung, and during a battle, saved King Leif. Their love blossomed, and Leif crafted a throne for her, a throne that made her feet touch the ground, where she finally felt at home. Later, Sigrid, Thyra, and Leif shared a quiet moment by the fire, while Egil essayed Kona, her magic filling the air. As the fire crackled, an old man appeared, revealing himself as Odin, king of Asgard. He had come to warn Sigrid of the dangers ahead and the consequences of her chosen path. The next day, Thor awoke feeling unusually happy, with Sandraudiga by his side. He drank deeply from a nectar goblet and strode out, leaving Sif, his wife, watching from the sidelines. Thor, in an unusually jovial mood, kissed his son in the courtyard, clapped a soldier on the back, and even smooched his warhorse. But when the war horn sounded, his cheer vanished, and he realized the severity of the situation. The old gods, giants, and Sigrid were marching toward Asgard, ready to shatter the fragile peace. Thor descended with the captive queen Freya, and Baldur joined them to confront Tiwaz and Sigrid. While Thor blustered, Baldur tried to negotiate, but neither side would yield. Both armies retreated to their positions, bracing for battle. King Leif rallied the army with a fierce war cry, and chaos erupted on Asgard's borders as giants, gods, and creatures clashed. Said Kona, Andvari, Egil, and Thyra fought valiantly alongside the Vanir soldiers. Thor charged in his cart, smashing through the ranks and calling for Sigrid to face him. Meanwhile, Sigrid, Leif, and Dal were on a covert mission to breach Asgard's walls. In the shadows, Loki wove his own plans, visiting his imprisoned son Fenrir and his daughters Hel and Jormungandr to reveal a cunning plot to kill Thor and outsmart Odin. As the first battle between the Aesir and the Vanir ended, Sandraudiga walked the battlefield, signaling its close and calling the Valkyries to claim their fallen. Elsewhere, Hervor prayed to see her sons in Valhalla. Meanwhile, Thor and Baldur assessed the battle's outcome. Back in his quarters, Thor summoned Sandraudiga and argued with his lawful wife, Sif. Despite the brutal battle, the Vanir forces survived. Sigrid shared a tender moment with Leif as she bathed him after Thora visited to thank them for all they had shared. Sigrid then left Leif asleep and joined Seidkona, Andvari, and Hervor for their mission. Reaching Asgard's walls, Sigrid planted a Vanir tree, which grew swiftly, creating a passage into the Aesir barracks. With Freya's help, they slipped into Thor's chambers. But when Sigrid found Thor on high alert, she hesitated. Outside, the others were arrested by soldiers. Thor threatened Sigrid, but Loki appeared just in time, distracting him long enough for Leif and the others to rescue her. However, Andvari, driven by vengeance, attempted to strike Loki. Leif hesitated, and Loki seized the moment, crushing Andvari's skull. Leif was left regretting his defense of Loki, which had cost him a friend. Andvari's death strained Leif and Sigrid's relationship. On the eve of the final battle, Sigrid wounded Leif's leg to prevent him from following her into battle. On the second day of battle, Thor stormed onto the battlefield with a thunderous crash, scattering Vanir and Aesir soldiers alike. He sought out Tiwaz, the Vanir king, and engaged him in brutal single combat. With unmatched power, Thor took Tiwaz's head, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The loss demoralized the Vanir, drawing Sigrid and Loki into action. Joined by Leif, Ulfr, and Thora, they attacked Thor in unison, overwhelming him in numbers, but unable to land a decisive blow. As the Vanir fought valiantly, Aesir forces from Valhalla arrived, strengthening Asgard's side and pushing the Vanir to their limits. Determined to protect his comrades, Ulfr unleashed the full power of his cursed pelt, transforming into a first wolf. Leading a pack of ancient wolves, he tore through the Aesir ranks and managed to bite into Thor. Despite the advantage of god-killing weapons, Thor retaliated fiercely, summoning the power of the skies and scattering Sigrid's allies. In the chaos, Thor delivered a fatal blow to Loki. Seidkona, foreseeing Egil's fate, left the battlefield for Odin's throne atop the kingdom. When Odin arrived, seeking knowledge of his future, Seidkona used Freya's power to reveal it, robbing him of his memory. Enraged, Odin disemboweled her, leaving her for dead. Egil found Seidkona gravely injured, but through her magic, she was resurrected and transformed, merging Freya's foresight with Odin's memory. Now a new goddess, a union of Vanir and Aesir born. However, Kona's memories of her human life faded, including her love for Egil, who watched in heartbreak as she became a stranger to him. Meanwhile, Thor sought out Sigrid again. Just as he prepared to strike, Ulfr leaped in her defense, sacrificing himself. Thor's next blow killed Hervor, Sigrid's oldest friend. Overcome with grief, Sigrid lost the will to fight, pleading for the Valkyries to come for her fallen friends. Instead, the agents of Hel arrived, and both armies watched in silence as Sigrid mourned. Moved by her loyalty, even Thor hesitated. Baldur urged him to make her a martyr, and Thor summoned Sandraudiga to offer Sigrid a peaceful end to the battle. Sigrid refused, rallying the Vanir and giants for a final assault. In the climactic moment, Leif swung his axe at Thor, who prepared to strike him down. Sigrid, desperate, threw Antler to block the blow, but Baldur intercepted it, taking the god-killing weapon into his torso. Baldur's body vanished in a beam of light. Thor, filled with sorrow, charged at Sigrid, but Freya intervened, calming him and leading him back to Valhalla. Sigrid's tale concluded when Loki gave her one final chance to kill Thor. She was taken to Valhalla by a Valkyrie, where she met Thor under a rain of mead. The old grudges finally set aside. With that ends the first season of Twilight of the Gods. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next season.